Another Victory Monday in Atlanta, and if you have not joined the #1 Falcons YouTube channel yet, what are you waiting for? We have free daily content when you subscribe, so help us reach our goal of 30,000 subscribers. Your Atlanta Falcons are 4-2, have won 3 straight games, all in the division, and are poised to be a serious contender in the NFC this year. The offense is awesome. They have put up 35-plus points in back-to-back games for the first time since 2016, a very promising season. And I think this Falcons team is loaded on offense and is just a defensive star up front away from being a team that can go from making the playoffs, maybe winning a playoff game, to winning playoff games and going all the way to New Orleans potentially. This, in my opinion, this 2024 Falcons team is worth investing in. I'm talking blockbuster investment. I'm talking Micah Parsons type of blockbuster investment. Whenever we're talking about acquiring a player of this magnitude, we know that there's going to be a lot of draft picks going the other way. We're talking about forfeiting future investments, right? That's how you should look at draft picks. It is basically just a currency for GMs. And so for me, I am willing to forfeit those future investments for the present because this 2024 Falcons roster is ready to win right now. Now, obviously, in order to make a Micah Parsons trade happen, it takes 2 to tango. And I don't know if the Dallas Cowboys are anywhere near that stage yet. But after getting their shit pushed in at home against the Detroit Lions, the Cowboys may eventually come to the realization and swallow a tough pill, which is they are good enough to beat bad teams. They are not good enough to beat playoff teams. And so they may land to that conclusion, hopefully sooner rather than later, and decide we are going to listen to trade calls and decide to focus and pivot a little bit for the future. Because this offense for Atlanta is incredible. I mean, in Week 6 against Carolina, we saw that they have found multiple ways to win. Before that, they were doing it through the air. This past week, they did it on the ground. 200 combined yards between Robinson and Algier and 3 touchdowns. And Cousins is off to a flying hot start. 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns, and completing 2/3 of his passes. He's in the top 10 of the NFL amongst all quarterbacks in pretty much every single stat possible. Their weapons in the receiving room are as dangerous as they come. They have 2 #1 receivers in Drake London and Darnell Mooney, and people still find ways to complain about Kyle Pitts. Guys, he has 263 yards and 1 touchdown. Look across the NFL and look at all the other tight ends. Kyle Pitts is a top 10 tight end in football this year, no question about it, and we still have to find things to conjure up and invent to complain about. That's how good this offense is. And don't even get me started on the offensive line, which is a top 5 unit. This offense is a well-oiled machine. So, the only thing this team is missing is a pass rush. And I said last week, I was willing to give this team 2 more weeks to turn it around. Panthers game has come and gone. They've recorded all of 0 sacks. So I'm going to stick to my word. And I'm going to give them 1 more week to find a pass rush. Because Grady Jarrett said himself when speaking to the media afterwards that they're going to figure it out up front. But look at the Carolina Panthers' performance through 6 games so far, and look at the sacks allowed. Notice anything? Only twice did they not give up a sack. Against the 2 worst teams in football at rushing the quarterback, the Atlanta Falcons and the Cincinnati Bengals. Everyone else got to the quarterback. This is not a group or a club you want to be a part of. So, Micah Parsons, what he could do for this team. I mean, it goes without saying what a special player he is. But for the Atlanta Falcons to hopefully find a long-term solution. And Mike is not just an asset for 2024. We're talking about a blockbuster long-term extension following the trade as well. But for the Falcons, they need to cut the line, so to speak, when it comes to acquiring star-proven pass rushers because they can't do it in the draft with a simple round 1 draft pick. It's going to cost him more than just one first-round pick to get someone like this, but I think it's worthy of doing because I don't trust them to find a pass rusher in the draft. They've never been able to do it in this franchise's 60-year history. I don't see why they would start to figure it out now. Now, Parsons is dealing with a high ankle sprain. He has missed the previous 2 weeks as a result of that, but I don't think he's going to miss too much longer. If he was, I think they would have put him on short-term IR right when the injury happened. My guess is they are optimistic he could return after their bye, which is this upcoming week. Parsons, though, is one of the best all-around pass rushers in football. He's really one of the best all-around defenders in football. Like, the term defender doesn't get used in the NFL very much because everyone has such a unique role. Parsons kind of does it all, right? It's him and Myles Garrett in the small club of 2021 to 2023, 3 seasons of having at least 12 sacks and 12 tackles for loss every single year. This is the club. They meet once a week, and it's just the two of them on Zoom. There's no one else in the NFL outside of these two guys that can get after the quarterback, 12-plus sacks every single year, 3 straight years, and stop the run, 12-plus tackles for loss each year, 3 straight years. Then Myles Garrett, your reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year, and 3-time Pro Bowler Micah Parsons. So I am not here to argue or debate about Parsons' resume with anyone. He is qualified for a huge trade and a huge extension. And I believe the Atlanta Falcons should make this happen if possible because this is a team ready to win right now, and that is worthy of giving up future picks. We have more to add on to this in just a moment, but a quick shout out to our sponsor today, Game Time. Game Time has an awesome feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. One thing I really enjoy about Game Time is they give you the Game Time guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Now, I know how fun it must be for all of us to even dream about trading for someone like Micah Parsons. But we do, like I said, have to acknowledge it takes 2 to tango. And I'll be honest, it's unlikely that Jerry Jones, who is the ultimate, final line of defense in Dallas, agrees to trading Parsons. But maybe he gets there if they continue to stack up some losses. And when you also factor in that Jerry Jones, despite being what looks to be like one of the richest owners in the NFL, he's one of the cheapest owners. He never likes spending money. Go talk to any Cowboys fan about this. They never spend in free agency. Never, ever, ever. They really drag their feet on extending players. And we saw that unfold in June, July, and August with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, who finally both got extensions. It took Dak all the way up until Sunday of week 1 to get his extension. And Lamb was not far behind him or before him. So knowing how Jerry operates, it took a lot for him to sign off on these 2 extensions. I don't know if he feels like they have the money, which they do have the money. They can make this happen. Don't let anyone tell you that they can't afford this because I don't want you thinking that applies to your team, the Falcons, as well. You can give 3 big contracts out. Go look at the Eagles. Go look at the Browns. Now, you may not get the results you want, but you can still do it. So don't let anyone convince you that mathematically it's impossible to do. But after losing to the Lions, giving out 2 huge extensions already, and looking at their upcoming schedule, they've got a bye this week. Then they play at the 49ers, who have been their daddies. Then they come to Atlanta to play the Falcons right before the November 5th NFL trade deadline. At 3-3 right now, if they were to drop these 2 games and go into the trade deadline at 3-5, feeling like this is not their year, and if Jerry is already kind of made up in his mind, Micah's not going to get an extension from us after paying Dak and and Lamb, he may decide, well, let's get something for him now because we don't think he's going to be here much more beyond 2024. Plus, Cowboys might be over Micah the person. And this is something to consider when deciding to trade for Parsons because there have been a lot of, we'll call it in between rumors and stories and reports, whatever that word is between all three of those things, around Micah being a little bit of an annoyance to the Cowboys front office and the coaching staff. There was a report that came out from a Cowboys beat reporter over the summer. We actually talked about this months ago, but I'll revisit it just in case anyone forgot, that I've heard from way too many people this offseason. I'm talking about at least 4 different people have told me that Micah has worn thin here. I don't know how much true is that and how much it actually hurts his reputation. I don't know whether this is the behavior of a typical superstar, yada, yada, yada. But ending it with, it would be a smiling or breathing a sigh of relief if he was no longer at the Star in Frisco. So clearly there is some level, well, there is, I should say clearly, but there is believed to be maybe some level of truth to the Cowboys don't really feel like Micah is the face of the franchise long term. And they are starting to get frustrated and annoyed with him off the field. So when you pair that with them already paying Dak and CD and them having a 3-3 record so far and looking at 2 more losses with 2 tough road games coming out of their bye, that might all equate to Jerry listening to phone calls. And that's all we need right now is for Jerry to at least pick up the phone and listen to an offer. Now, what could that offer look like? You have some rough idea. Because if it sounds like this would never happen, it wasn't too long ago the Raiders traded away their reigning or recently reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year, Khalil Mack. It did happen. He went for a first. He went with Khalil Mack to the Bears for along with the 2nd and a 7th for 2 firsts, a 3rd, and a 6th. So this gives you a rough idea as to what does a superstar pass rusher in his prime go for. I think it's going to cost the Falcons a little bit more. I'm going to say it's Parsons to Atlanta for 2 firsts and a 3rd. Remember, the Bears got some draft picks back. So in this situation here, nothing goes back to Atlanta, and Dallas gets 2 firsts and a 3rd. So if you were Terry Fontenot and Jerry picked up the phone and you gave this idea over to Jones, would you accept it if you had the final say? You're the Falcons, and the Cowboys sign off on this. Give me an A for accept or D for decline in the comment section. For me, I am typing A for accept all day long. I don't think the Falcons' window with Kirk Cousins is that large, obviously, given his age and being on a 4-year contract, which I don't think the Falcons think he'll be here for all 4 years, given they used their first-round pick on Michael Penix. So we are realistically looking at 2, maybe 3 years of Kirk Cousins. And I think it is worthy of trying to maximize those seasons right there, starting with 2024, because it might seem tough to envision a team like the Falcons who didn't have crazy preseason hype going into the year, going all the way to the Super Bowl. But just take a stroll down memory lane with me for a second here. I mean, 2 years ago, the Eagles were in the Super Bowl. They had the 13th best preseason odds to win the Super Bowl. How about the year before that? The Bengals were all the way there with a 4th quarter lead, like the Eagles. They were 29th. But they had Joe Burrow, so not quite apples to apples. 49ers, though, they had Jimmy Garoppolo, 16th best odds before the year kicked off. Eagles, back when they had Nick Foles finish it off for them, 13th best odds. And then the 2016 Falcons had the 23rd best odds going into the season. I mean, we have 1 Super Bowl winner and 4 runners-up. That is fine by me if it means the Falcons can at least get themselves in the arena, and then we'll go from there. So this is a team that I feel like I said earlier, is worthy of the investment based on what the offense has showed us so far. The defense needs a lot of help on the pass rush. They rank dead last in sacks through 6 games with just 5 to show for. Micah Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys may not be going very far this year, and if Dak and CD's contracts loom large over Parsons, Jerry might decide, let's get something for him while we can before if we decide to inevitably let him leave in free agency. Or let's try and get the most for what we can right now if we plan to kind of pivot/retool this upcoming season, given it doesn't look like this is Dallas's year after the way they played against a contending NFC team. And for the Falcons, 2 firsts and a third, whatever it costs, I'd make it happen. This is a team that can catch fire. We have seen a lot of teams do that just in the last 6-7 years here. Why can't we add the Falcons to that list? Before we sign off, I do want to show some quick love to the Dirty Birds Club. Jose Santana, Ken Ballard, Trey1222, Jason Lindino, Reese Atkins, Archangel, Angry Liquid, Jeebus H. Christ, Dictator JC, JT, Jordan C. Johnza, Ronan Tyrell, and Lord Buddy Bear. Appreciate you guys for going above and beyond to support the channel. One of those members, by the way, sent me an awesome picture from the Week 6 win over Carolina. Archangel, boots on the ground, first row, wouldn't have it any other way. So Archangel, thank you so much for watching the channel, always being a live member and a frequent flyer in the chat. Shout out to you. Hope you enjoyed your drive home because that was an awesome win for the Falcons. Thank you so much as always. And if you ever want to get a shout out, feel free to send me a picture of yourself or just you at the game, whatever, and we'll throw it on screen. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have not subscribed yet, go ahead and do so, and we'll keep you guys locked in all season long.